Hey everyone, welcome back to On the Fence Movie Reviews. I am Adrian.
And I am Rob.
Today we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman 1984. So Wonder Woman stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, and Pedro Pascal. And it kind of picks up in 1984, many decades after the events of the First World War. And Gal Gadot is just kind of finding her place in the world. And there's a mysterious stone that kind of shows up, and it seems to grant people whatever they wish. But it kind of leads to some bad stuff there, and then the film takes off from there. Rob, what were your thoughts of Wonder Woman 1984?
Well, first off, let me say I really enjoy Gal. I don't know how you pronounce her last name. It's Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot. Yeah. I really enjoy her as Wonder Woman. Not that I had issues with her in the first one, but I was a little hesitant. But I feel like she's just she has a firm grip on who Wonder Woman is and kind of made it her own. So I really enjoy her portrayal as Wonder Woman. The 80s vibe, not that I'm over it, but I feel like, there's a lot of stuff that's come out. It's been, 80s but I do like the music. I do enjoy the style of it. So that world, caught me, it kind of sucked me in. As far as, and I don't want to be too negative, but as far as like the story, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I did like there wasn't a lot of action in this movie, to be honest, but the action that was there, I did enjoy it. I feel like this, and I was talking to Robin because we watched it together, and I said, I really didn't feel like this was a superhero movie until almost towards the end of the movie. I feel like this was just more, someone, like a story of someone not so much finding their place, but kind of cementing their place in this world. And I did like that. It kind of took me back a little, because I was like, hey, where are, all the supervillains, and where's this and where's that? And there is villains in this movie. They are there, but yeah. I just feel for the majority of the movie, it was kind of, Gal Gadot, Princess Diana, just kind of cementing her place in this world, and just kind of more of her story. And that I did like I said, the story wasn't too, as far as the storyline, I feel like at the end of this, there's a very there's meaning to the story, but I just feel like they didn't execute it in the best way. So I don't know. Okay. What did you think, Adrian?
Kind of similar to you. I enjoyed like that first 10 minutes. I actually really enjoyed. I liked the whole her being at Themyscira as a child, that flashback scene. That was very entertaining. Even the whole mall scene at the beginning, that was also very entertaining. But then as we get into the meat of the story here, that's where it starts to kind of fall apart a bit.
Okay.
Because you have the Kristen Wiig character, Barbara, who's kind of an oddball, and then she's like kind of like always on sort of acceptance. And we've kind of seen that before, where in other films where that type of character then becomes like that cool one or whatever, so to speak. And it just, like, her character almost didn't really work for me for the overall story. It kind of just felt like, what is she even doing in this story? It's not that Kristen Wiig was terrible, but it just didn't really work. And I really liked Pedro Pascal's character, and I just really wish that they focused more on him, his need and desire for the stone. And I really wish they gave a little bit more backstory to the stone, because I like when they start dabbling into like the whole, like, the mythology of things, because they talk about how a god created this stone, right? And so like I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that well. But I think for me, the best thing about this film really is the relationship between Gal Gadot's character Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, Chris Pine. They have such really strong chemistry on screen. I really feel for their emotion. You feel the love that was lost and the love that is sort of regained there, and they just do a really phenomenal job. So when there's certain emotional beats and they really hit, and I think Gal Gadot just does an excellent job of that. And Chris Pine, who I think is a very underrated actor, does a very awesome job of kind of role reversal here. Whereas in the first one you had Wonder Woman, the fish out of water. Here you have Steve Trevor, who's kind of that fish out of water, who's coming from the early 1900s to now being into 1984, and just like everything, like the technology advancements and everything kind of being blown away by that. And like the planes, being that he's a pilot. So that was really cool how he just kind of pulls that off very well. But again, when it comes down to the story and the villain and all of that, it just feels really weak. And then, you have Barbara, who, again, I'm not spoiling anything because it's in the commercial and trailers, who becomes Cheetah, is just kind of thrown in there to have like some sort of physical fight, it feels like. And so for me, that's where it didn't really work. So overall, I would say it's enjoyable, but, it just, the story-wise, it just didn't land for me. So Rob, with all that being said, are you going to get off the fence, or what are you going to recommend?
So I'm going to say I did enjoy it. I there are things I liked about it. But for me, honestly, I'm going to have to stay on the fence because for the things I did enjoy, it just, like I said, it didn't feel like a Wonder Woman movie. I mean, not so much on the Wonder Woman movie. It didn't feel like a superhero movie. And I feel like they started one way and with the story, and then it kind of switched a little bit different. And it just, I don't know. I just wasn't 100% with the story as far as the way they executed it. Again, the way you were saying, maybe if they, kind of went a little deeper into the stone itself and where it came from. And that might've been very interesting. Cause I feel like with Wonder Woman and her abilities and how strong she is, you need, someone to kind of measure up to her on the opposite end. And I just feel like altogether there were villains, and but I just don't think I ever felt like they were Wonder Woman's equal. So that just kind of lost me in the story. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna stay on the fence when it comes to Wonder Woman 1984.
All right. For me, I'm kind of conflicted.
Okay.
And here's why. Because
let's talk about it.
We usually will say, wait till it comes out on VOD, but it's already on VOD.
That's right.
On HBO Max. So it's kind of like, I mean, I guess it's worth the watch. I mean, it's not terrible. It's enjoyable. It has enjoyable action scenes. The relationship with Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor is really strong. But it gets a little long at the tooth. It's 2.5 hours. And if they had cut out, pretty much if they cut out Cheetah, that's probably that extra half hour right there. And so there's some parts where I felt it dragging a little bit. So I think some viewers may find themselves a little, kind of bored in some parts, but I think overall it's fine. It's a decent film, but it's not nearly as strong as the first Wonder Woman, which is a little bit of a disappointment, but it's still somewhat enjoyable. So I'd say, you know what, if you're a fan of the first one, get off that fence, check out Wonder Woman. If you're a fan of DC, get off the fence, check out Wonder Woman 1884. But if not, then I would say maybe just stay on the fence and don't waste your time.
One thing I just want to add, sorry, Adrian, one thing I want to add is like, for me, I went into this thinking, okay, this story needs to be strong because we have seen the events of Justice League and Batman v Superman. So we know where Wonder Woman is over here. So this middle part is missing. So, because we know not so much the end, but we know kind of towards the end of what, as far as her story, we needed this story to be strong because we kind of have an idea like, okay, well, she's not going to die. Like she's in these movies.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one thing that stuck out to me is I was like, I need this story to be strong and I need this to be a good storyline because I know what happens to her. And just, it's movies like that where like, you kind of go back in time and you kind of got to make that story good because you know what happens to our heroes in the future.
Yeah, and not to go too much on a tangent, but I mean, we'll see what happens with the Black Widow film, which is also a prequel to the events of Endgame. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, but again, I agree with you. The story just isn't strong enough. Like I said, the stuff with Steve Trevor really works for me. I feel like that's like the emotional wall and it really hits home. And you feel that, and they both deliver really strong performances that you feel for them, and you kind of see where her mindset is about how she feels about love and opening herself up. And I think they could have built on that a little bit more, but again, it just gets a little lost when there's like the whole wish granting stuff and with the stone and the whole Barbara stuff. It just gets really lost in that. So I think it's a little bit of a mess, but again, still okay enough to say we'll check it out.
Also, if you haven't watched it yet, and this is not a spoiler, continue watching. There's a mid-credit scene that just a little nod to the fans of the series. So just check that out.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have you seen Wonder Woman 1984? If you have, why don't you comment down below and let us know what you thought. Do you agree with Rob and I? Were you disappointed or did you love it? Let us know and we'll try to respond and get the conversation going. Also, don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, and follow us on Instagram at On the Fence Movie Reviews.
And remember, we'll catch you on the fence.